Smidgen Nation, how are we keeping? Are we alright here today, guys? What's going on? I mean, I'm alright. I got a game for you. It's a standard, as you can see, or one would like to call sanded, of course, because I'm using the Zan team with Shuckle and stuff. So the modified one with new things, which it was working out pretty alright, so I decided to use it again on the stream, and this is a game against Naded47x, which turned out to be pretty good. So yeah, it's a pretty long one, so you're gonna have to be sitting tight for a while, and I haven't sped it up too much apart from appropriate sections, because I thought that some stuff needed explaining, and I'm gonna do that. So I lead off with Scarflanders, and he leads off with Kajondo. Now, my thought first of all was that he's a Life Orb lead with Fake Out, so I decided to go to Gliscor on the first turn to take that. However, as you can see, he switches out first. Now, knowing that my Landorus is a Scarf Landorus, that instantly tells me that his Kajondo is Scarfed as well. Now, the reason for that is because if you both switch out on the same turn, the Pokemon that switches out first is in fact the faster one. So I know he's Scarfed just from that. But what he does is he Fizz the Earthquake, goes into Skarmory, and I have a Gliscor versus Skarmory matchup that I'm not too happy about because I can't really do too much to Skarm, and I want to minimize his spikes as much as I possibly can. So instead of setting up rocks on his Skarm, as he sets up spikes on me, I go into T-Tar to directly threaten him with the Fire Blast and just try and get him out of there, because I don't want him setting up spikes anymore. I don't carry a spinner on this team at all, so I really don't want it to be hindering my team. So I go for the obvious Fire Blast, and he brings in Terrakion, which isn't really a big of a problem. I have Gliscor, which is in general a very solid check to Terrakion. I'm going to kind of judge how much this close combat does, just to see whether he's banded or scarfed. And looking at that damage, initially I thought he was banded, but it turns out it's a critical hit, so that is most definitely a scarfed Terrakion. Banded crit would have done probably around half, if not a little bit over half, so definitely knowing that thing is scarfed is a good thing to keep in mind, because Gliscor is going to be a constant check against it throughout the entire game. So he brings in Latias here, as I decide Stealth Rock is an easy thing to get up on a Scarfed Terrakion that's locked into close combat, and a switch is inevitable, so it's probably the best time in the match for me to set them up right here, and I decide to go for it. But that critical hit, though it didn't really seem to matter at the time, may actually have come into play a little bit later on. We'll see how that goes, but we'll pick up on that later when Gliscor comes back in. But for the time being, my best thing to go for to check a Latias in general, to check any special attacker, is of course Shuckle. So I'm going to go straight into Shuckle. That 900 special defense in the sand it's nothing to be scoffed at, I should say, or to be sconed at, because scones and scoffs are indeed something that sound alike, but indeed are not alike in any way at all. However, he's a Calm Mind Latias, so it's good that he's not Specs or Scarf. I mean, for him, of course, because it means that he can try and set up on me. But alas, he forgets that Shuckle, the legend, the man, in fact carries Encore, which is exactly what I'm going to do to this Latias. Encore him straight into the Calm Mind, and just trap him there, because he really can't do anything to me. I mean, even if he'd gone for the Dragon Pulse, it wouldn't really have done much. I could have knocked off or encored that and just Toxic Stalled him until he died, really. So the best thing for me to do was Encore on that turn. I got him being greedy, which was perfect, and now he's going to have to switch out because he doesn't want to be staying in with Encore into Calm Mind when I can easily set up on him. But I decide that maybe he will want to stay in and Calm Mind a bit more, so I'm going to switch out to a direct threat in Tyranitar, because I wanted to set up a sub on it if it was going to be Encored into Calm Minding, so that I could have a free focus punch on something like this Terrakion if anything wanted to come in and threaten T-Tar. Unfortunately though, he does go straight out to the Terrakion, so that directly threatens T-Tar out again, and I'm just going to go straight back to Gliscor. It's a solid check to Terrakion, it's going to do the business, and really nothing to fear. So I'm going to go straight into it. He doesn't get the crit this time. As you can see, close combat does a really pitiful amount. Something that I can easily roost off, and of course, I am a Sand Veil Gliscor as opposed to the Poison Heal. I prefer having Roost and Stealth Rock, and it kind of works better for this team to have Roost and Stealth Rock on this Gliscor, so that's kind of what I go with. I really don't care too much for Poison Heal, and Sand Veil can help sometimes, it really can. So at this point, I'm thinking that he's going to go into Skarmory, predicting my Earthquake and trying to set up more spikes, so I double switch as he switches out, and I go into Rotom to directly threaten the Skarm. However, he goes into Latias, which although it doesn't look like the best thing for me, it's kind of going to work out because I am a Scarf Trick variant, so though he resists both my stabs, if he decides to try and Calm Mind up on me thinking that I'm kind of vulnerable to him, then he's going to get hit with a Choice Scarf, and he's going to be locked into Choice Scarf Calm Mind, which is definitely something that wouldn't be good for him in any way, shape or form. So he's actually going to go with the Dragon Pulse, I guess, either predicting that or just wanting to gauge how much damage it would do to this Rotom. Maybe seeing if I'm defensive or, you know, offensive, and clearly I am an offensive based Rotom just with Trick Scarf. So I get the lefties, which is nice. It means that Sandstorm isn't actually going to be chipping me away, but at this point I know that because he's locked into the Dragon Pulse, it is going to do absolutely squat to Tyranitar, because he is a Calm Mind Latias. He doesn't have like any Life Orb boost, he doesn't have a Calm Mind up at this point, and Dragon Pulse, you know, in the sand is relatively weak, so it looks like I can easily set up a substitute on this Latias. From the amount of damage that it does with the Dragon Pulse, it's not going to be able to do over 101, so I will be able to get a free substitute up. It doesn't matter what he really switches to, because I can hit really anything on his team. The great thing about Boa is that it has a pretty variable move pool, and he can't really predict whether I'm going to be carrying the Ice Beam or the T-Bolt, or going physical with Crunch, or special with Dark Pulse, but you know, I'm always going to be having that Focus Punch, which really does threaten a lot of his guys. Skarmory isn't a safe switching because I carry Fire Blast, and Terrakion, obviously, you know, Focus Punch is going to hit that. So he decides Gastrodon is probably the best middle ground between all of those three, and it kind of, you know, it works because it can take the Focus Punch, and Earth Power is going to be able to break my sub. So, you know, he has the stab going for him, and he has the relatively decent defenses. He also at full HP, so it really is the best possible switch into T-Tar at this point. So he's going to go to it, and I'm thinking Focus Punch is going to do a significant chunk. It takes it down like 3/4, which is a really nice amount, and I'm thinking Crunch might be able to chip it off from this point, but I'm not sure. And the other thing that I'm afraid of is that he's going to predict the Dark move to finish him off, and is going to go to Terrakion to get his Justified boost. So I half predict the Recover on Gastrodon, half predict the Terrakion switch with the Justified boost, and decide to go for the substitute all the same, because even if he Earth Powers, then it means that he's vulnerable again, and, you know, at the mercy of a Crunch or whatever, he'll be at the same amount of low HP, and if he recovers, then I get a free substitute, so it's really all in my favour. So I'm just going to go for a Focus Punch again here, and maybe get a bit more maximum damage, maybe a crit, we'll see. I'm not really sure how this is going to go, but Gastrodon, a bit of a threat. It's not too bad, because I'm still carrying Terrakion on my team, remember, and I'm also carrying Landorus, so those are two big physical threats who have, you know, really strong stab moves and can pretty much get rid of Gastrodon, provided it's not full HP, because that would be slightly frustrating if it was. I probably should have sped up this portion a bit more, but, you know, it gives me a little bit of time to talk, a bit of time to say stuff that is more in-depth about the battle, of course, and there you go. But at this point, I know that, you know, Earth Power is doing a significant chunk. Don't want to be handling any more of that stuff, so I'm going to go straight to Shuckle. And I think my best defensive sort of movement at this point is to Toxic the Gastrodon, maybe knock off the lefties first of all, because there's the potential Skarmory switching as well if he's going to predict the Toxic. So I'm going to go for the knockoff first. It seems like the safer option. Skarmory would be a relatively nice switch for him, because he can Whirlwind me out, he can set up spikes on me freely, and I really can't do much apart from knock off his lefties. If I want to Encore, I can Encore him into spikes, so that, you know, it would be a good switch for him to go for, but he does decide to stay in with Gastrodon. I guess that, you know, Toxic is favourable for him to try and whittle Shuckle down as much as he can. I guess he didn't realise that I had Rest, so he thought maybe he could outstall me in this segment, but of course Shuckle obviously carries the Rest, and I'm going to be able to just, you know, speed through this bit, Toxic him, get rid of his lefties. He really is just chipping away now. I could have Encored him, maybe Encored him into a Recover, and then switched into something else, but it's okay, I'm really not too bothered. At this point, though, I am going to Rest, and I guess that that's what his game plan was to Toxic me to the point at which I was forced to Rest, and then predict the Rest turn, go into Terrakion to directly threaten me with the Stone Edge, and be in a really good footing for him. So that's essentially what happens. He's at a really, really good footing now with Terrakion. Stone Edge is going to hurt Gliscor if I switch it in, and I know I can take it though. So I also have the factor of Sand Veil playing into me, and Stone Edge is tentative to hit anyway. Miss, sorry, not hit. And I'm hoping maybe he will miss one of these. But I switch in, and he hits me with a crit Stone Edge. Now this is kind of where the crit close combat from earlier mattered, because if it hadn't happened, I would have been, I guess, a bit better prepared to take that Stone Edge, and perhaps could have taken a second after a crit. I don't really think I would have done, but it would have been nice. Unfortunately though, he doesn't miss any of the Stone Edges, even though it is a Sand Veil variant, and that is gonna cost me my Gliscor, which is terrible. It's really bad because Gliscor is my solid check to his Terrakion, and it's bad. It's really not going to be good for me whatsoever. So I go into my Terrakion, because at this point I can freely set up a Rock Polish on him. He is locked into Stone Edge, and I of course resist that because of the fighting typing, and I'm just going to go for the Rock Polish, see how much sweeping I can get done here. But the thing I forget about is the fact he has Skarmory, and Skarmory for him, like Gliscor for me, is his main check to Terrakion. So I've lost my Terrakion check. So what I do is I'm thinking he's going to Whirlwind me out. He doesn't want me sweeping with Rock Polishes. So I go for the Stone Edge, and I actually crit his Skarmory. So he crit my main Terrakion check, and I crit his main Terrakion check. So I guess we're at a bit of an even footing now, because he does in fact whirl me into Landorus, which is packing the Hidden Power Ice. So that means that what I'm going to be able to do is go for that HP Ice, take out the Skarmory, and leave me, you know, with free opening now to set up my Terrakion if I so wish to. So what he goes to here is his Kajondo, I guess, trying to U-turn on me or something, or trying to Stone Edge or something. I really don't want to take anything that Kajondo has to throw at me, so I'm going to go into Shuckle, because at this point it's asleep, and either it's going to wake up on something, or it's going to die to Terrakion, and really it's kind of a bit of a dead weight at this point. Shuckle never really is dead weight, because it's always useful as, you know, sleep fodder and stuff, and stuff like that, and walling and stalling. But at this point I'm thinking I'm not really going to need it for the rest of his guys, because lots of his things are already taken out of the way that I needed to deal with, kind of. Gastrodon's poisoned, Latias is tricked, and I'm kind of thinking, Shuckle, he can go to sleep at this point. It's okay, it's fine. So Terrakion does come in after the U-turn from Jondo, and it's going to Terrakion me. Yes, it's going to Terrakion me, and by Terrakion me, what I mean is he's going to go for the close combat, which is, the signature thing of a Terrakion, is to just freaking just smack you in the face, and it's going to take Shuckle right out, which is okay. But the plan that I kind of have set in motion is what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to go into Landorus here, because I'm going to threaten him out with the Earthquake. Now what I'm expecting to happen is for him to go into his Latias, and if Latias does come in, which it does, then I'm going to have the advantage, because I'm going to U-turn on that thing, and then I'm going to bring in what I hope is going to be my key to the end game here. So I U-turn on the Latias, and he goes down to a really, really small amount of health. Sandstorm is probably going to be able to take him out now, because he doesn't have leftovers, which is really great. And he's going to have to lock himself into one move. So, knowing now that I have the special defense boost from the Sandstorm, and knowing that Latias really isn't going to do a lot to me, even if it wants to go for the Dragon Pulse, I'm going to set up a Rock Polish here, because I know that after I've set up plus 2 speed with the Rock Polish, I will outspeed every single thing that he has left on the team. And I'm pretty sure that with Close Combat and Stone Edge, I can one-shot the rest of his entire team, because I have Stealth Rock on the field, and because Terrakion is a fucking powerhouse with a Life Orb. So I go for the Close Combat just to finish off the Latias, and I'm thinking, please, please let me have enough Life Orb recoil to finish off the rest of his guys, because he has 5 guys in total remaining, including Latias. He has 4 guys left now. I'm looking at my Life Orb recoil, I have over 100, and I'm taking 32 HP from each hit. So I'm thinking, at this point, Terrakion is pretty much set, because as long as I kill the Gatron with close combat, which I do manage to do, I'm done here. I mean, this is GG. Terrakion has the rock polish set up, and I'm going to go from being 5-3 down or 5-2 down or whatever it was to pulling off a Terrakion sweep right at the end. Thanks to that rock polish, I'm able to outspeed his Scarf Terrakion, and I'm actually able to outspeed his own Jolteon, kill that thing with a close combat, and that's going to wrap up the game. So Terrakion is right at the end there, right at the death, and manages to play perfectly into the end game strategy, just bringing that thing in on the Latias, which was already hindered earlier, set up the rock polish on a hit that I know I can easily take, and just the setup was pretty beautiful how it worked out in the end. It really was very good. So really excellent game. I hope you guys enjoyed. 15 minutes, what the hell am I doing, man? That was too long. I probably should have sped that up a bit more, but I wanted to give you a bit more of a detailed narration today. I don't know, I felt like being a bit more detailed, or how you call it. So whatever, that's how I'm going to speak and stuff, and I will see you guys next time. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. Likes are very good for my mental health and my stability as a person, and you can check out the Twitter account and Tumblr, links below in the description if you want, though they are I'm going to shut up. I've been talking for too long, so I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.